move into the summer months, it's time for a change. For too long, things have been erratic, unpredictable, and yet all too predictable. No content, no features, no real reason to tune in unless you were an auto mechanic or a masochist.
Or from Moislip. Shout out.
Or Fishguard.
Bang bang, big up.
But now, things are different.
The times have changed.
And we would like to welcome you to the revitalized, the refreshed,
That's a shame. This will be on for the whole episode. It's only a 2.5 minute track, but we're going to loop the fuck out of it.
We hope you enjoy it as much as we do.
Each single time it rotates back to the start,
And it's just that little bit off key.
I'll be pitch shifting it to hell. Oh, feel that bit. How does it make you feel? Yeah, you. That's right.
Sitting at home, sitting on the bus,
Shirtless, perhaps.
or shirted,
Inappropriately dressed for the weather.
bloused.
The World Cup.
That's right. It's time for some features. It's time for a new way to consume your shame.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities.
Hello and welcome to episode 93, a very special episode 93 of That's a Shame.
Radio 4 presents That, a Shame, ? With me, Isaac Bernier Doyle, and you.
Declan E. Delane.
Oh, well, I didn't go for the middle names because I didn't want to show...
You've got far too many.
Exactly, I thought we want to conserve airtime for the content because that's what we're all about.
I know, we're actually doing sort of content, aren't we?
Well, you could have lied to me. I've not been involved in it myself.
Psych! It's another story about the car!
Would you rather not? How's life? How are you doing? You're holding your wrist like you're auditioning for something I'm not going to say. It's just very offensive. Let's put a little mark there just in case.
I'm okay.
Yeah?
I'm better than I was about 20 hours ago.
God, aren't we all?
Had something of a total breakdown.
You know them. You'll remember those.
It was weird because in a very filmic way, it was the smallest inconvenience that ended up triggering this absolute explosion.
Now, listeners, a little game for you at home. If you could just pause your device any second now, and I want you to just shout out, wherever you are, library, morgue, wherever, what you think in one word that could have been. Ready and pause. You back? You got it right, lads.
So basically, I went out rather impromptu to see Emily,
Friend of the show.
Emily.
Hall of Fame denizen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And she was very pleased to be there.
Oh, well, who wouldn't be?
She said she'd been there. She checked out her name.
I feel a bit shit that we're not on it. I know we don't actually.
We do less for the Patreon than any of our patrons, so
Yeah,
I don't think
I
we
guess
deserve to be. Plus, we've got our pictures on a different page.
That's true, yeah. A better page.
And it was a really enjoyable night, bar a few things.
There was a great Australian chap around.
He was our real horror.
Yep.
coked up to the eyeballs,
Oh.
and he was the sort of guy who, you know, he was a nice guy. He was a nice guy, you know.
Did he didn't tell you that himself, did he?
Oh, well, yeah, no, he did. He was trying to make
just
sure that
so
we
it
knew
was
that.
really clear.
Because he came over and he was, you know, rather handsy with our friend whose birthday it was. And
Let's
everyone-
call her Birthday Boris.
Okay, he was pretty handsy with Birthday Boris.
God.
And Birthday Boris's friend, I don't know, what are we going to call her?
Cake Giver Kate.
Cake Giver Kate.
Yeah.
So Cake Giver Kate, she kind of had enough
That's fair.
with
'cause
this
she's-
Australian wankstain who was bothering Birthday Boy Boris or whatever it was.
it wasn't that. Thanks for adding to it.
And I was like, I mean, you could fuck off.
That's
And
one
he was
option.
like, oh, well, okay. And so he went away.
Uh-huh.
And then what he did, like all the best nice guys.
'Cause he was
who were
nice,
nice.
wasn't he?
Yeah, he was nice.
Yeah. Like, people don't go around saying that if you're not, because that'd be. I think the advertising standards agency will have you done like in a heartbeat.
Yeah. And what he did was he brought two of his biggest friends over,
Oh, big burly pals.
yeah, to come over and just really lay it on that he wasn't going to have it. He wasn't going to take it being told to fuck off.
By a woman who he was.
Cake Giver Kate.
Yeah, Kate Giver Kate, whose friend or who herself was being harassed.
Whose friend
by-
was being
Right.
harassed.
Okay. And he wasn't going to take that.
No.
You know, being asked in no uncertain terms to fuck off.
No. And then he had to go, and then, like, eventually we got him to go away. But then whenever we went up to the bar, he'd inevitably come over to reiterate
Just
what a
have
nice
another
guy
chat.
he was.
Yeah.
And then to engage us in some very banal and meaningless
surprised me.
conversation for far too long.
Ah,
Thankfully, we left this place because it shut preposterously early.
dreadful.
And we went to everyone's favourite place. That's right, Camden.
Where fun goes to die.
We actually ended up in quite an odd but nice pub called the Elephant Head. I think it
the
was.
head of the elephant.
That's another way of
Yeah,
saying it.
that's
yeah,
what
if you
we
didn't-
call it. If you're in the know,
Oh, right.
if you're
I
on their
see.
mailing list,
Yeah,
you call it.
yeah.
Do you want to pop down to the old
head of-
H of the E? And everyone's like, you what?
And all was well again then, was setting off to go and get some food. Now, there's a lovely vendor who has like a small windowed sort of takeaway place on Camden High Street. And it's like the one good thing about Camden, sandwiched as it is in between Electric Ballroom and the station. And but it's cash only. So I went to try and get some cash down the road, but I thought there was a cash machine closer. Turns out there wasn't.
Good.
So then I was like, I came back down the road. I thought, just give Emily a quick rip.
Oh, no.
Ooh, what's that? Phone 100% gone.
Puff of smoke.
Yep. So then I did the traditional angry panic.
Oh, yeah. It's a horrible feeling losing your phone, isn't it? When have I lost my phone? Let me remember. Oh, yeah. It was bad. God, I mean,
Worse than
where
I
to
thought. I
start?
can't even talk about it.
But I think it's a very particular, like, why a phone? I'd rather lose my wallet than my phone, I think.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
It'll cost you probably around the same, depending on what you ended up doing.
I think, well, you can cancel cards pretty easily, and I don't keep anything sentimental in my wallet. Really.
No, I suppose you don't have a
I keep some
driving
medication.
license.
Oh, no. Well, I mean, I do,
your
but it's a
provisional.
provisional,
Yeah.
and I think it's expired.
Yeah, it's just because where it's more than a phone now.
Yeah.
You're very lost. Like you've lost everything. Like the thing that you just sort of hold. It's
Your
like a
VR
comforter.
portal
Yeah,
into the
you're-
Ready Player One universe.
You're plugging into the old Twitter sphere,
Oh, God, yeah. The
and
Tweedos.
and especially if you're on your own like that, you can't even. You're like, oh, I've texted someone to let them.
I'll just send
oh,
someone a
hang on
message on
minute.
Factbook. Not a chance.
Not a chance.
No.
So I went back to the pub and we couldn't find it there, and we tried ringing it and nothing happened. And then I eventually
Try
found
going around
Emily.
shouting, hey, Siri! Just checking. My
Sadly,
Siri
I had it on the low power mode all the
my
time.
Siri,
so
Siri's
doesn't-
just napping.
It's really annoying because sometimes I realise that I need it on low power mode while I'm driving.
Yeah.
So I go, hey Siri, turn on low power mode. And it goes, bidim, have turned on low power mode. So it turns on low power mode. But then Siri stays open in case you want anything else,
Right.
but can't hear you So
Deaf Siri.
so I end up having to manually turn Siri off so that I can have the music back on.
no.
Because of course Siri, for no good reason, doesn't work with any third party
No.
apps. Eventually found Emily, and it was the first time in the night, despite many frustrations, including this horrid man and this missing phone, that I kind of like let slip, smashed my hand onto a grate over a shop.
A big shop grate.
Yep.
Such as, I think that's what they're there for, is it not? It's to...
I think so.
So you don't do that to the glass.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, have a go at this.
Yeah, you know, may as well.
Yeah.
Uber arrived.
Uh-huh.
He kept being like, just do the find your iPhone thing. I'm like,
With
well,
what?
how?
What are you talking about? Helpful, pal.
But I'd never got my food, you see, from my lovely vendor. So I was like very
He was in
emotional.
floods of tears. I've been texting him today. He's still waiting.
I was very emotional. I was like on the precipice. I was upset. I was sad. I was angry.
These are two
Yep.
similar ones, but then you pulled it out with angry.
And I was frustrated, and I was hungry, and I was drunk. But I was just about kind of like holding it together. We then rang my phone, but accidentally actually rang my home in Hockley at 2 a.m.
Oh, no.
and woke up my mum. So sorry, mum. Then rang the phone, and someone answered.
And it was you.
And it was not me.
Oh, fuck.
Someone
That's
answered.
the less cool version, though.
And then, this is what I don't understand about the whole thing, who answered and then suddenly, like, couldn't hear us and then hung up.
Sorry, I can't hear you over all this theft I'm doing.
And then, interestingly, the phone suddenly was turned off.
It was... Oh, that's unfortunate, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's a shame
I
when
hate
someone's
it
definitely
when that-
trying to give your phone back to you, but it's turned.
But it's just, you know, sometimes electronics, they get away from you.
Yeah, you can't control what they do because they have a mind of their own.
Yeah.
So I was like still then even angrier, but still just like holding it together under a kind of, well, this is typical, like, yeah whatever. I was like, look, can you just, if you turn off here and just go via Colin Deep Lane and go through the drive-through, I need to get something to eat from McDonald's. And we turned in to the drive-through.
And much like the story that began the podcast,
There's a little 2-part traffic cone with a paper sign on
a
it.
2-part traffic.
Yeah, it was like
What's the second
it was
part
one.
for?
It was like a big heavy base and then
Yeah.
just a metal pole instead of a regular traffic cone.
Wow, that's fancy. Spend some of that on wages, chaps.
That's why I broke. I'm an innocent man because
What's the
tonight
statute of
was
limitations on vandalism? Doing no crime. I think it was 12 hours. So you're fine.
I don't think it's enough of a crime, surely, for anyone to care
I
about.
wouldn't. I mean, knowing your track record. Remember that time you? What did you? You went to a house party and smashed the whole building on purpose.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh well, we'll edit that out then. But yes, so it was the one night, seemingly ever,
Did they say why? It wasn't like.
refurbishment.
Oh, well, that's good then, isn't it? In a way, because next time you go, it'll be all brighter.
I think it partly, part of the reason that it triggered me so much is that it reminded me of a time, I think 4 years ago, I think it was during like the last World Cup or something. My brother and I were at home by ourselves. I think my mum, my dad and my sister were on holiday or something.
You made it sound like 4 years ago that was like, oh my god.
Oh, no.
Mum and dad are away. It's like Kevin McAllister up in here.
No, but we had like had a load to drink and watched some football or something, and then we were like, we'll walk to Rayleigh, which is like 3 miles. We're like, we'll walk there and get a midnight McDonald's. And we walked all the way there, and it was shut for refurbishments for one night. And then by the time we got there, like all of the like takeaway and kebab places were all shut because it was like 1 a.m. by the time we got back to the high street. And it just seemed like too much of an aligning of some pretty shitty stars.
Yeah.
And that was it.
Those 3 cartoon hags in Hercules were cackling all over you with their one eye.
They were just like whirling my string about,
hair
dipping
all
it in
over
some gravy. So that I got back in the Uber and I was like, just take us home. Just take us back. So got back. And then, even then, I was sort of holding it together. I was really, really, really on the edge. But then the thing that pushed me was I get back, I put the key in the lock, I unlock the door, and I open the door, and the fucking chain is on for the first time in history, despite the fact that everyone in the flat denies ever having put it on. No one put it on. You didn't put it on, Mark didn't put it on, Bryony didn't put it on.
Wow.
So no one put the chain on.
It's been on before when I've left early, and I've never really thought to ask because I've never been coming in. But has everyone denied ever having put the chain on?
Well, yeah, seemingly.
Wow, that's a shame.
So that's another fucking chain that goes with. So I like...
Fulcrum's got a giant magnet on the back. I bet you could do that. That would fucking freak people out. That would be so cool. Let's look into electromagnets.
All right, done. But yeah, that was it. I came in when Isaac eventually then came and unlocked the chain and let me in.
I was coincidentally just coming back from the kitchen and it was very dark, and then I thought you were in bed, so I heard the door go. I was like, well, everyone's here, so I came to look, and they're chained out of the flat.
And that was just it. I think I burst open the door to Mark's room. Do you put the fucking chain on?
Mark,
and then
just asleep.
That was it. I was done. Everything had just gone wrong in the space of 1 hour. Everything I couldn't get the smallest little win, just any of it. And I was in
when your own door betrays you.
I know, that's it. That was the very end. That was the straw that it not only broke the camel's back, it fucking bent him over.
What if you'd unlocked the door, I'd taken the chain off, and then you'd opened it and the whole thing just came off its hinge? You were just holding the door handle.
Well, what? I often am with my own bedroom door. Yeah. So
what you're saying is you're doing good.
Yes, thankfully.
We have to tell that. I mean, this was supposed to be our content episode, but it's relevant detail, and we're easing into Wednesday,
exactly.
As you can tell from our parody intro.
It was just a classical hindrance to the formulaic show.
Yeah.
That the night before was particularly personally eventful.
But there's a positive ending.
There is a positive
element of it.
A slight change in fortune for me, in that a very, very, very drunk man found my phone.
Titch, he was called.
Titch, yeah. Tiz.
Which I've only just realised is because he was about 5'3".
Yeah. I did the lost mode on the phone that you can do remotely, and he used that.
Flies up into the air and hovers.
Yeah, and it just screams.
It's so good.
Help! And so he managed to ring my dad, who then got in touch with me.
Did you put your dad's number on it?
Yeah, so basically when you put it in lost mode, it puts a number and a message, and then it has an option on the front that just says call, so if you hit that, it dials that
clever,
number.
Isn't it? Apple are really on top of that.
Yeah, they are.
Whole concept.
And what's good is that you don't have to manually take it off of lost mode. If you unlock it with your thumbprint and then your passcode, it turns off. That
they know what they're doing, those guys.
So I did manage to eventually get it back today, which I, in all honesty, did not at all ever expect.
Oh no, losing a phone in London is you may as well have just kicked into a well.
Just thrown it into the Thames myself.
And then smashed your head against that well until you forgot where it was and woke up a month later and had no clue where you were.
Yes.
But shout out to Titch if he ever wants to come on the show, preferably sober. It's just a little requirement I have for all
And the man was drinking Bud Light, so
about 2 o'clock or something.
It was actually 4:30.
But even so,
I know. But all I think is how much of it was he drinking to get like that?
Because he used to be 6.5 feet tall before he started.
It just
putting all
shriveled,
his energy
dehydrated into a big Bud Light carrying, phone finding drunken dwarf.
That was him.
There it is.
His girlfriend had his name tattooed on her neck.
That is always a good sign.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Are you getting that done anytime soon?
Well, I don't have, she's got a long name. I don't have the neck.
And you don't have much of a
I have
neck.
to get more of the neck.
What, it
girth.
could be like a band round the whole thing.
No, because then if you were reading it from behind, it would be a different name altogether. And I think that could lead to many issues.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
very, very dangerous territory.
I imagine her getting jealous.
Who's this Louise? It's part of your name.
However, all this is preamble.
Yeah.
Because I have sort of
Prepared.
prepared something of a feature.
And at this point, there's going to be some sort of intro music now.
The Week in Shame.
And then we'll come out of it. Let's come out of it with different personas. And that's what I said to David. I said, look, if you're going to stuff up the economy, I'm going to stuff you up back. And then I decked the man, and now he's not Prime Minister.
No, he's basically fallen into absolute and utter
He's
obscurity.
just fucking pigs on his own clock.
I know, well, that's
Welcome
the way it
back
is.
to the Moral Maze on BBC Radio 5. I'm your host. And joining me, as always, how you doing? Lovely to see you. Yeah, little joke there for our regular listeners. We don't have any guests today, but what we do have is a feature-heavy, news-focused hour and a half of delight. Kick it off for us. That's a football pun.
Oh, because of the old cup.
Yeah,
Du Monde.
the World Union.
That's the one, yes. So, what we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is a new feature called The
Just
Week...
shuffling some papers.
Yes. The Week in Shame. You see, we end up in the myriad of personal events, small annoyances, funny tweets, robots writing. We end up missing some of the vast and near insurmountable shame that goes on.
The world has never been more.
Shame.
No, just more.
Never more.
Never been more than it is now. And we're here to report on it for you.
And so what we've done, I've curated for us, I hope you don't mind if I sort of take the wheel on this
by
one.
all means, pal.
Curated a list of the top 5 shames this week.
Good.
Would you rather that we start with 5 and count down to number 1?
Are they in order of shame?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I think start 5 good.
Okay. In at 5.
Right, is the slug voice, is that continuing permanently?
No, the slug voice
Oh, no.
is nowhere near what we've been having.
Oh, God.
No. So, in at 5, we have from the Evening Echo of Ireland.
Wow.
Homeless families living in hotels could be moved out. For what, Isaac?
Because there's a wedding on.
No. Think a
Hang on,
grander
is it
event.
all hotels? Or is it a hotel?
All hotels.
Lots of weddings on.
No. Think a grander event, but even more, therefore, ironic.
A great big, convention about poverty.
Now, if there were a great big convention about poverty and it were happening in Ireland, who'd be the biggest name
Bob
you could
Geldof.
get? No, fuck. He's number 2.
he was. Oh,
he's
damn.
number 2. Who could be visited?
Bono.
No, he's actually in at 4 now.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realise he'd slid off the charts. so
Yeah,
much.
no, he's behind Elmo at 3.
Stop.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Number 1.
In at number 1,
King or Queen?
it's the one and only. That's right, it's the Pope.
No.
Yep,
The big Pope.
the big Pope.
Wow. El Papo
Papa F.
himself.
Yep.
Popping
He's-
over to Ireland to kick all the homeless.
That's him.
That's lovely,
Yeah.
isn't it? And so what's the correlation that this article is trying to draw between the Pope flying over from the Vatican,
Yeah.
presumably in some private personal jet, which I think must be a lovely experience, to Ireland, and why does he just hate the idea of the homeless being in hotels?
No, what it is that obviously every fucker in Ireland is going to want to come along.
Oh, I see.
So as Father Peter McVerry, who campaigns on behalf of the homeless, says, you're not going to get a hotel bedroom anywhere in 100 miles of Dublin.
Wow.
I would imagine when the Pope comes to visit.
They
he
like the
says.
Pope, don't they, some of them?
They really, really do like him over there. It's quite
Is
frightening.
it this particular Pope, or is it just any
Oh,
any
just
old Pope?
the Pope.
Because I hear Benedict wasn't all that.
No, well, he wasn't if you looked into it,
Uh-huh.
but they're not big on looking into it.
Oh, so as long as it's a kind of endearing old white man
Yeah.
in some robes. then
Yeah, that's
can't
all
get
they
enough.
really need. Lest we forget, this is a country in which the nuns were famously outed as knocking out women during childbirth, selling the children.
Oh, yeah.
And telling the mums that they'd just died in childbirth.
Oh, is that one of the popes
That's one of the core tenets
of Catholicism?
actually. Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah. I think
because-
it's the 11th commandment or something like that.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
it didn't make it on the tablets, but it's
No,
like
but it's like
an
it's the
appendix.
appendix. Yeah, it's an addendum.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, so they reckon they might just
Where
what
are they
they
gonna
what
put
they
them?
do. Well, here you go. They're not totally heartless.
Uh-huh.
They're going to put them in the police station.
That's
So
so,
will they just put
good,
them in
isn't it? 'Cause
prison?
It kind of cuts out the middleman. of
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Don't even wait for them to commit a crime.
No.
Now being
Just
homeless is
pop
its own
the whole
crime.
families in there together.
That's good. Is that women, children? We can help.
Oh,
as
anyone.
well? Anyone who wants to.
Yeah, yeah.
anyone who
Just
wants to sell.
straight up.
Wow.
Yeah.
And they must be overjoyed about this opportunity.
Oh yeah, I think they're really looking because we all know what it's like when you've been in a hotel too long.
It just does. It's kind of sterile. Isn't
Yeah.
it? Not like the streets.
No, God.
Who's going to kick you while
Lovely.
you're sleeping in a hotel? It
No,
must feel,
exactly.
it must be kind of devoid of any journey.
Yeah, any kind of like life.
Yeah.
So that's good. Pope. Yeah, you on the Pope
That's
side there?
really good, yeah. Because I saw a video of the Pope recently where it's actually quite nice. A little boy, there's like a queue of questioners asking stuff, and a little boy comes up and is like too scared to ask into a microphone. So the Pope like beckons him up with what in my head is a kind of 20-meter long
E.T.
finger.
finger, like yeah.
This way, like that. I don't know where he's from in that idea.
No, sort of pan global accent.
And the little boy is in floods of tears, whispering all stuff in the Pope's ears. And he was asking, after about 2 minutes, the Pope's like, I've spoken with Francisco, maybe. I made that up. And he said I can share his question. And his question is, my dad is dead. He didn't go to church. Can he be in heaven? And he was really sad and
And the
scared
Pope
about this.
properly laughed at
The
this
Pope
kid.
said, the Pope stood up and just vomited blood and was like, take that and get out.
Carried
Pope-
the kid from his own mouth.
No, the Pope was very reassuring. So I think it's probably that same kind of compassion
Oh yeah.
that's driving this
Well, that guy-
rehousing project.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
While we're on the topic of families
yeah.
and the police, people might have picked up on just a little story that's been going around this week about the old not cages.
the hashtag Trump camps.
Yes, these not cages that no one is separating children from their
It's
parents.
not a cage, is it? Because it's, it's too big for a cage.
Yeah,
It's, at that point, I don't know, it kind of supersedes what
yeah,
you
it's
even expect from a
more
cage.
like a sort
It's
of
just
menagerie. Really,
It's like a kind of a room, but there's more bars than you're used to.
Yes, so the Trump government, via the ever popular ICE,
Yeah,
has been ripping babies and children away from their parents at the border and locking them in not cages,
no.
just barred, very limited spaces.
Well, it's a bit like a hotel, isn't it?
Yeah. Really, they should think themselves lucky like the
Yeah.
Pope's not there,
It's
because
like
otherwise
Shark
they'd be down the police station.
That's true.
But this was something that we were talking about earlier, is that one of the incredible things that has come out of this is the not entirely off the mark comparisons to some of Hitler's policies,
Hang
some
on.
of his arrangements.
Hitler of the Nazis.
off of the Nazis.
Of the war.
Yeah. Of that
well, both wars.
big war too.
Yeah, the huge one.
The second big
The
war.
last one, though.
Yeah. There couldn't be another one.
Well,
We're
once you've got it
past
out of your
all that now,
system.
yeah. So there have been lots of comparisons held, and then therefore, obviously, the innocent representatives from the GOP, from ICE, from Trump's inner circle, have been forced to come out on the defensive.
That's not
poor
fair, isn't it? Because you
fellows.
can't put people on the back foot when they're just trying to do a good job.
So what has been interesting alongside those defences is the utter lack of communication seemingly between everyone, because Nielsen, who the policy is, said explicitly that we don't have a policy to separate families. That's not what we do. And then like others came out and said, well, we're only doing it because it's the law.
Oh no.
And then others came out and went, it is bad, but they're just, that's just what we've got to do.
Yeah.
The Bible backs it up. And a lot of priests
does it?
came out and went, the Bible doesn't back it
Oh,
up.
it doesn't. Okay.
No, it turns out it doesn't. No.
God, it can get so
It's
confusing.
about
though.
kicking out the homeless. They're all for that, the Bible, but separating.
That's a step too far.
Yeah, that's that is a bridge too far.
Yeah.
But two of the best quotes of the week coming from this have come from Jeff Sessions, Attorney General Jeff
Lovely.
Sessions.
He's a great guy.
Very
He's not at
strong
all
history of
kind of-
not being a racist.
Or like a freaky little goblin man who
No.
appeared to you in a forest that you were just walking through and try and offer you some sort of like flesh, like an overly ripe fruit in exchange for dark deeds.
He looks like if, when Pinocchio is made into a boy.
Yeah, I hate it.
If he just aged like that. That's him
Okay.
now. And
But
he'd
I
grown
think
up in like.
he's aged, but like I think he's only about 92% boy, so there's still like an 8%.
Oh God,
wooden
ventriloquist
machine where
dummy.
it's just
yes.
like everything's a bit too put together, a bit too contrived.
Yeah,
He's a horrid freak.
he is. He said it's an unfair comparison, the Nazi one, because the Nazis were trying to keep the Jews in Germany. So really,
No, he's got us there.
Yeah.
Checkmate.
you can't really fight that because they
Well, it's
were,
facts.
yeah. So
And that's
so
what
it.
everyone hated about the Nazis, isn't it? It's like, well, if you were getting them out, that'd be fine. Like, it's
Yeah.
fine to discriminate against a whole group as long as you're
Getting rid of them.
expelling,
Yeah.
rather than compelling them to live in your kind of child's zoo.
Exactly.
God, it's eye-opening stuff, Jeff.
But as we were talking earlier, the director of ICE, a guy called Thomas Homan, which is cool because in every sense he's not quite human.
Yeah, he's just missed the mark.
Yeah. He has said that ICE can't be compared to Nazis since we're just following orders.
That again is almost too. Does it say he has a history degree or something?
I'm not seeing.
PhD.
I'm not seeing any of those letters.
I assume he does because the level of nuance there is surprising. Because when I had that at first, I was like, "Hang on, isn't that exactly why you'd make the comparison?" And then, I listened to a bit of Fox News and I watched, Corey Lewandowski, of course, and it was when he
the
said
old
"womp womp."
womp
that I was
womp.
like, "Yeah, no, you're right. They're not Nazis because those guys they were probably just enthusiastic." Or each to their own cell.
And the Nazis
just
never had a
driving
real
forward.
sense of humour about it either, did they?
No, so that's fair.
I do like this article for, I don't know what the website is, Politics Maven.
Oh yeah,
Don't know what that is.
sounds a fish.
By someone called Jake Thomas, opens with the sentence, asked what he thinks of people comparing ICE to Nazis. Acting Director Thomas Homan replied with the Nuremberg defence.
Nice. That's
So-
good work, Jake.
But you've seen that Trump said he's going to call it all off now.
Yeah, that's good, isn't it? Because it's always good when people, they'll
Yeah.
do that of their own accord.
But it isn't going to be standalone legislation. It does have to come with funding from the wall.
Well, that's probably just because,
It's expensive to take down all those cages.
yeah, maybe he's like, well, if we've got all this free cage, we might as well put it somewhere.
somewhere,
It's an environmental policy.
Yeah, I think
ultimately.
so,
That's
yeah.
clever. God.
In further Trump news, coming in at number 3 on our list, something that we've been excited about for quite a while now.
Uh-huh.
Trump to set up 6th branch of the US military, known as the Space Force.
Yeah.
Now,
He is a stupid
this is
man.
this is something I know you've got a lot of thoughts on. So
do,
why
yeah.
don't you talk to us about the Space Force?
Well, I've always loved space. You know me. I feel like I live there in a very literal sense, and I know we all do. But I feel like more than most, I've tried to keep abreast of the concept that we're just sort of hurtling around space. Yeah. And when you look up to space, you've seen the moon.
Oh, almost every day.
The big one in the sky.
Yeah.
And when
At
you
night.
look, sometimes at the day. Now that can throw you.
Yeah, because it's like there's the sun, there's the moon.
know,
It's
it's
like,
like,
whoa.
Awkward. It's like who's in
Yeah.
charge? It's like when when you're with your teacher, right?
And then you're parents.
Well, no, not even that. What I was thinking was you're in a class with a teacher, but then maybe like the deputy head comes in, and you're supposed to stand up for that, but the teacher's in the middle of talking, you don't want to, and it's like this power balance, and that's what I feel. So
I always find that really hot.
yeah, same, because then they fight, and that'll do it for anyone. When you're up there looking at the moon, I don't know about you, but I've always thought very cowardly looking at that moon, like it's up there kind of hiding in plain sight, admittedly.
And you don't get the feeling that if someone was going to start any trouble, that the moon would step in and save us.
It hasn't got your back at all. I mean, it was part of the Earth. That's the one we're on, the big circle.
He's the guy
who fucked off.
Yeah, he's your mate at the bar who, you know, he's all right.
Yeah.
Nice guy. He'll get around in every now and then. Not as often as he should.
Now.
Yeah. But if it all kicks off and someone comes on top, he'll be like, I was stuck behind the table.
Mate,
I couldn't really get around.
Mate.
And you know how my ankles are.
Slipped a disc.
If I come in, like I'd have been a hindrance more than anything.
He's like, look, I didn't want to kill him. Like, I don't know my own strength. I can't start swinging because I don't want to send one of them to the morgue.
Yeah.
So whenever I've looked up at the sky, when I studied astronomy, and when we've studied astrology on the show, talking to the tarot gods, I've always felt just this nagging sense of emptiness, really. And it's taken the visionary idea of let's fill space with guns, hopefully lasers of some sort.
Yeah.
And just warfare in general.
Space without lasers.
It's really been eye-opening for me.
Yeah. Trump said at the White House, it is not enough to merely have an American presence in space. We must have American dominance in space.
Wow. I wonder, why is that then, do you suppose? Because space...
Well, he says...
Does he know how big it is, space? Because it's going to take a while.
To
you could
protect
send
the
up
whole,
every American.
whole lot of it, yeah.
If every American looked after 100 square miles of space, you wouldn't even get out of the fucking galaxy, pal.
You wouldn't even reach the moon.
Dreadful.
His reason was for national security.
Oh, because
I think what I think he means is like galactic security. But where he's kind of a like one nation kind of guy, he's quite isolationist. I think he's mistakenly gone back to the nationalism.
That was probably probably like a slip of the tongue there, as you say. What about another slip of the tongue where he described the idea of the Space Force in relation to the Air Force as being quite separate but equal?
Oh yes,
because it's not like a racially loaded dog whistle term harking back to segregation. No. Okay. No, I was just checking.
No.
I wanted to run that by you. I know
like
you've read a few articles in your time. So.
Yeah. No. I know that's
because when I heard it, I thought, oh, hang on, that's a phrase that's exclusively associated with the civil rights movement. But we've clearly moved on as a culture.
Yeah, he's able to use that.
Are we post-racial now?
Yeah, that's basically it.
Fuck.
Like that
I didn't
guy.
get the memo.
Do you remember I sent you that screenshot earlier from that very forward-thinking guy on Twitter? Maybe you saw. Well, basically, someone was making an accusation that someone was racist.
Oh, come on!
You know, and like, it's just thrown about willy-nilly these days, isn't it?
You look at an ice cream man the wrong way, and suddenly, he's a Ku Klux Klanner. Come on.
Yeah, it was actually in relation to the not cage, not child zoos.
Oh yeah.
And Mazin al Eshaker.
Okay.
Who is, I can confirm looking at his picture, a white man.
Okay.
Posted a picture of some Mexicans doing a lewd pose, I think it is. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I'd say so. Grabbing the junk.
And then he sarcastically said, "Please take care of the children."
Oh, because he's trying to say that Mexicans don't deserve anything.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, yeah. That's pretty subtle.
So someone responded with, "Do brown people hurt your feelings?" And Mazin, he wasn't having any of this. Wasn't having any of it at all. He came back, he said, "I'm colourblind. But criminals do hurt my feelings. White Hitler, brown Bin Laden, yellow Pol Pot, and black Idi Amin. Brackets, did I miss a colour?" So really, I think we're past all that.
Was that the tweet that kind of pushed us over the edge and now there's no more racism?
Yeah, I think we're done with that now.
Wow, okay, well let's just
It's a whole genre of debate that's just moot.
That's pretty big, isn't it? I'd have thought I got a breaking news alert for that rather than when Meghan Markle's dad might not turn up to a wedding in 3 weeks.
Oh, yeah, but you did really need to know that.
True.
Yeah. In at number 2.
It's this helicopter going past my window. Hi.
Burger King Russia apologises for World Cup promotion, offering Whoppers and money to women impregnated by football players.
What?
And
How are they verifying
I
it?
cannot tell you how literal that is.
So what? Hang on.
Have a listen. The Russian arm of the restaurant chain was forced to pull a promotion offering money and free food
Pull out.
to women
I should have said pull
impregnated.
out, shouldn't I?
Yeah.
I should work for
Impregnated by World Cup athletes after the fast food community found the ad to be,
Wow.
quote, too insulting.
How the fuck do you get into the fast food community?
I don't know, but I'm sure that I should be worth
You're
like
at
an
the
honorary
epicenter.
doctorate
Yeah.
at least. Here we go. So they posted a tweet, and on their Facebook page they posted a picture of a pregnant belly,
Okay.
being like gripped in that very motherly way.
Oh yeah, like
they do.
those sickening postcards or greetings cards that they do
Yeah,
where
exactly.
babies are lying in like a petal.
And translated, this is how it reads. Burger King, within the framework of social responsibility, has appointed a reward for girls who get pregnant from the stars of world football.
Girls who get pregnant, so it's like the promotion really at this point is in the future. It's like get out there, you know, get knocked up, and
That's
come
it.
back and get a Whopper.
Each will receive 3 million rubles, which is about 50 grand,
Oh wow!
and a lifelong supply of Whoppers.
Fuck,
for
a
these-
lifelong one.
For these girls, it will be possible to get the best football genes and will lay down the successes of the Russian national team on several generations ahead. Forward! We believe in you.
Wow, what a weird like mishmash of like capitalism and a traditionally Soviet kind of
No.
declaration of communal good.
This is like the end game of that Pizza Hut advert with Gorbachev in it.
Oh, that was a shame.
That was just the end of critical thought.
That's so weird. So
What I like is that the like media relations department then had to release an apology once the advert was removed, and the apology started with, "We are sorry about the clearly offensive promotion that the team in Russia launched
like it's
online."
one guy in a cubicle who came up with it and everyone's like, Jim,
For
we
fuck's
fucking
sake,
told you. Yeah, no, we all know. Jim fucked up again. You leave him, give him an inch, he'll take a fucking pregnant Russian.
He was the one who came up with their free large Whopper meal for every new country that we annex.
Oh,
Deal.
what deal that was. Putin was straight on it.
I know.
I'm still curious about how you'd prove it because they're very busy, the footballers, during the World Cup. And how are you going to go along? It just seems like in a climate where people still claim to be pregnant via Christ and the Holy Spirit, and, you know, we can't really say that much to them. Someone who's like, oh yeah, I'm pregnant, whose is it? Drogba. It's like, well, I mean, if you say so.
Burger King Russia originally posted its promotion just days after Tamara Pletnyova, a Russian lawmaker, urged the nation's women to, quote, think better of having casual flings with visiting World Cup players. There will probably be girls who will meet foreign fans and have children, said
Fans?
Pletnyova. Maybe there will be such girls or maybe not. I hope maybe they will think better of it. That's such a lawyer speak.
baffling
The word
thing to
maybe
say.
appears about 20
And
times
also she
in
equivocated
13 words.
between players and fans because
Yeah.
there's a huge difference between getting pregnant via, you know, one of the most physically fit people on the planet versus some like hooligan from Brighton who's rocked up, wants to punch a foreigner.
It's absolutely mad.
Dreadful.
It does follow a seemingly worse advertising campaign that I didn't hear about
What, from Burger King as well?
from Burger King Russia.
No, Jim's fucked it up.
Last
twice.
year, Burger King Russia also came under fire for making light of an alleged rape victim's claims in an ad for a promotion, the Moscow Times reported. The chain included, I'll show you in a second and we can link to this because it is utterly abominable.
Why Burger
The
King getting
chain
involved?
had included a cartoonish depiction of a young woman, only identified by Russian media as Diana S., then just 17, who claimed she was raped at a party and who later became a meme when she used her fingers to indicate how little she had been drinking on that night. Burger King then published an ad using Diana's likeness, complete with her hand gesture, in order to indicate how little time there was left for their promotion.
Oh my god.
Here it is for you.
Oh, that's fucking dire.
That is
How has Burger King not been shut down everywhere?
like that would end.
that should end.
Yeah,
Everything.
anything.
That should end
There's
with
surely
burgers.
nothing that's too big to be ended by something as like openly.
Why? I just can't understand the reasoning. Why would
Who's
they do
like,
that?
oh, let's get on this.
Think
hype.
how many people, it always comes back to this question of like the amount of people who sign off on marketing campaigns. Like it has to go through every level. Like when we put out an episode title, it goes between 100% of the members of this organisation and we sign off on it. And Burger King are putting out just madness.
It is a real and dire shame.
Well, I'm glad I don't ever eat there because it's objectively shit.
Yep.
So good on you.
We come now then to number one.
Shame of the
A
week.
sort of change in tone. The shame of the week.
Let me put a jingle in here.
The story that started this entire feature,
Okay.
the inspiration for it, I had to get this out to the general listeners because it is, I think, the best headline I've ever read.
Okay.
This was reported in the New York Post by the Associated Press.
Yep. Love their work.
Harbour seal that made mostly wrong Super Bowl picks dies.
Oh no, that's so sad.
Norwalk, Connecticut. A harbour seal that gained some fame by making
Poultry thing. Like, why are they having a go at it?
I know.
Like, it's just
It's
already
just
much
died.
more famous than every other seal.
Yeah.
Some fame.
by making annual Super Bowl picks, usually incorrectly, has died at a Connecticut aquarium.
Also, it's not the seal doing it. Like, you can't blame the seal for being forced into this bullshit.
The 35-year-old seal was named Orange and had been at the Maritime Aquarium in Norwalk since 2005. The aquarium said Monday that Orange had been undergoing treatment for cancer.
Oh,
So we're talking about kicking him while he's
35
down.
though.
I know.
I didn't know seals lived that long.
Orange was the aquarium's oldest seal.
Oh, I should hope so.
She was found stranded as a pup in 1982 and was rehabilitated at the National Aquarium in Baltimore before moving to Connecticut.
God, that's pretty rock and roll.
For the past 7 years, she would predict a Super Bowl winner by swimming to the window of her tank and putting her nose on a picture of the helmet of one of the two competing teams. Now, this is where it gets really sad, the final line of the article. She was only right twice.
Out of how many? 8,000.
I think, for the past 7 years. So she was only
Every
right
year, so
twice.
she just does the final.
Yeah.
2 out of 7, that's not...
She was only right twice. The New England Patriots in 2017 and the Philadelphia Eagles in 2018. So she was just hitting her stride,
Fuck.
just getting the knack
That's
of
when
it,
God was like, you've got too much power for one seal.
and ended it all.
Too much power and almost enough fame.
So
Wow.
poor Orange. This came up. It was really interesting because it came up on my Twitter feed, even though the story I think is a little bit older. Right underneath, but entirely separate from a tweet about a guy who's writing an article about that octopus who picked World
I
Cup
remember that
results,
guy, yeah.
and said he was like doing research into him, and the story is mad.
He
like
just is psychic, have you
that.
found?
Well, there's that, but also that like the octopus has had death threats. It survived an assassination attempt.
Why?
Yeah.
So do people think that the octopus is like not making guesses so
Predictions.
much as
It
forcing this
decides.
to
Yeah,
happen?
like
Some
it's
octo
absolutely.
god.
The guy was like, he's had death threats. He survived. He's an octopus.
You cannot send a death threat to a fucking octopus. I can't deal with being alive in this time.
Like
Mad.
how. I mean, I get angry at some trivial bullshit, but how
There's so much
angry?
follow through.
Yeah, how angry do you have to be for so long?
Dear octopus, comma.
One more.
Well,
and you
well,
fucking
well.
had it.
What was the assassination attempt, do you suppose?
I don't know.
I hope
I
it was like
haven't
trying
had
to
a
pour
chance
like
to look.
cornflakes in his tank or
Yeah.
something. Fucking mental people.
Imagine trying to kill an octopus.
I'm scared of
I
octopuses.
don't know that I could.
I would not be brave enough to have any. As soon as you look at one and it like knows you're there and starts to like flob in your direction, I'd be out.
Yeah. And they're like,
Imagine sniping an octopus. Though. If you found out that nothing
through the
close
window.
range worked, you had
Yeah.
to like, right, it's in its sights. I wouldn't
What
even
about-
know which bit to shoot.
what about the octopus who was eating all the fish in the tank opposite? Do you remember this one?
Where he's grabbing it out with his big tentacle arm. Or
What? No,
what's-
he was literally leaving his tank,
That's sick.
going down along the floor, up the side of the other tank, eating the fish, and then coming back and getting in his tank, but only did it when the restaurant was closed. And like at night, like he knew, he was like waiting, like biding his time.
That's horrible.
It's mad to think, isn't it, that like octopuses are plotting.
Even as we speak, they're
Plotting
planning
to
overthrow us.
to like eat the
impregnate
fish,
Every Russian footballer.
to fucking influence the World Cup. They're running like a gambling ring.
That'd be so good.
They're going
I
to
wish
be.
they were a little less horrific, though. That's
Yeah.
all I asked for.
Well, what's like what I find more horrific, I think, is that
The giant squid.
they are very, very, very
Granddaddy of
troublesome.
horror
Yeah.
itself.
But the thing about octopuses is that as a kid, like in books and stuff, they're normally these kind of kraken-sized, like enormous things.
Oh, I've always thought they were quite friendly in books.
And oh yeah, they are, but they're quite big.
Yeah.
they're sort of as big as people.
Yeah.
But in real life, like most of them are a lot smaller than that.
And they can fit through like the eye of a needle.
Yeah.
It's easier for an octopus to fit through the eye of a needle
than it is
a
for the
rich man
homeless
go
people to
heaven.
stay in the hotel when the Pope visits. But they're still somehow more frightening.
Yeah. Well, it's because you couldn't put one in a room and know where it was at all times. It's
God.
like that thing about...
Think of the number of places an octopus could hide.
Have
in
you
this
seen the
room.
video of one escaping on a boat? Where it's
Yes.
and it goes through the most
The
outlandishly
tiniest
tiny...
little gap.
I can't be doing with it at all. The ocean is a terrifying,
It is a real
troublesome
horror.
place.
And it's so fucking big as well.
Too big.
There's
too big
so
to fail.
much of it. Like you sort of look at the map of the world and it doesn't look, it doesn't look too bad.
Yeah, I mean, it looks damp.
And then you look at a globe and you realise that like half of
Holy
it's
hell.
the Pacific Ocean.
But if we remember back to what Wayne was telling us all those episodes ago, Flat Earth Wayne, that is mostly bullshit because water couldn't stick to a ball. So
Oh, so what are you saying? It's just land there, really?
yeah, it's just very, very wet land, like soggy as fuck.
like a sort of like when you go out for games in November.
Yeah. But probably even worse because there's fish in
Bloody-
it. There's never any fish on my football fields.
Octopuses flopping about the place.
Hello, lads. Well, there we go. We got a
was-
little bonus shame there, which was the whole ocean.
Yep.
That's our number 0.
But yeah, that's the
This week
the
in
week
shame.
in shame. Yeah.
Yes, Nick Keeman.
There we have it.
Our first.
Sort of formal episode. Thank you for preparing a feature.
That's all right.
I'll
Like we
maybe
said,
do one of those myself one day.
training wheels.
Yeah, exactly.
We couldn't quite go without talking about our lives.
No.
Mad though they are,
Yeah.
or mad as they are. I should
Indeed.
probably say. But we got there in the end.
We
We
did.
did a content.
A whole 5
Had a
and a
content.
bonus news items.
Yeah.
I suppose the ocean doesn't count as news necessarily.
It wasn't
'cause
quite
it's been
as
there a while.
It wasn't quite as well researched as the other stories either. I think
Yeah, it was mostly guesswork. I've never seen an ocean. Okay.
But that's how all learning started. A bit of guesswork.
Exactly. And
As Professor Matt will tell us, that's basically what science is. You have a guess,
And then that's
and then
it.
you see if it's. Oh yeah, no,
Yeah,
that
you
is
have a
it. You
guess
just
you're
and you
done.
write it down.
And then 35 years later, an octopus kills a seal, and we're none the wiser. This has been a brand new format for the show. tass@shame.city is the way to get in touch to let us know about it. In this more formal climate, I think we need to formalise our contacts. And I'm not even going to mention Twitter because I see that as too fun for this kind of format.
Yeah, I don't think
It's a
Radio
bit
4 has a
lowbrow.
Twitter.
No, and if they do, I bet they only repost like Shakespeare memes.
Yeah, not
Classy.
even memes. Don't
No, but
just
I think
serious content.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Shakespeare, serious content.
Yeah.
Sometimes I get them mixed up. Yeah. So Tats at Shame.city.
Such as doing a degree.
That's it. That's the best place. Shame.city for all your other stuff.
Hall of Fame needs.
Yeah, patreon.com/shamecity if you'd like to fund the madness.
Shame.city/contact specifically if you would like to get in touch.
Yeah, and until, normal, this is the new normal, I suppose. So until service continues.
You sound excited about that.
I am being measured in my output because on the radio, on the good radio, they never get very excited.
No, not about anything. Not unless you're John Humphreys.
No.
What about John Humphreys last week? Did you see about this? That he was interviewing Rupert Everett and spent 40 minutes grilling him about how gay he was.
Yeah.
And then ended by saying...
On a scale of 1 to 10, though.
And then ended the show by asking, does he think there'll ever be a time when he can do an interview and being gay doesn't even come up?
Maybe when you're buried in the grave, John. Thanks for playing.
He must be... It got to be soon.
He's so old, do you think he's going away to
He
field?
is so old.
If he makes the slightest prediction at this World Cup, I tell you what.
That's it. I'll be sending him a death threat.
Any of these moments. Until episode, whatever the next one is, 94.
That'll be him.
I've been Isaac, you've been...
I've been Declan.
We'll see you on Sunday Fun Day.
Stop it.
Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder of my big home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you. For the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, oh Mother Nature's recipes that bring the bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I couldn't be fonder, my new home. The bees are buzzing in the tree to make some honey just for me. The bare necessities of life will come to you.